Welcome to Plain Tick. In this video, we'll be exploring one of the most iconic and infamous structures of the 20th century, the Berlin Wall. The year was 1961. The Cold War was at its peak, and the world was divided into two opposing camps, the capitalist West and the communist East. Nowhere was this division more apparent than in the city of Berlin. After World War II, Germany had been split into two countries, the democratic West Germany and the communist East Germany. Berlin, the former capital, found itself right in the middle of this tug-of-war, with the western part of the city belonging to West Germany and the eastern part to East Germany. For years, East Germany had been struggling with a stagnating economy and a mass exodus of its citizens to the more prosperous West. Between 1949 and 1961, an estimated 2.5 million East Germans fled to West Germany, many of them via the relatively easy crossing point of West Berlin. This brain drain threatened the very stability of the East German state. Desperate to stop this flow, the East German government decided to take drastic action. In the early hours of August 13, 1961, they began erecting barricades along the border between East and West Berlin. At first, it was just a simple barbed wire fence. But over time, it evolved into a formidable concrete barrier, complete with guard towers, trenches, and even beds of nails. The Berlin Wall, as it came to be known, stretched for 155 kilometers, 96 miles, and effectively sealed off West Berlin from the surrounding East Germany. The official justification for the wall, according to East German propaganda, was to protect their citizens from the corrupting influence of Western fascists. But it was clear to everyone that the real purpose was to stem the tide of emigration and keep East Germans locked inside their own country. The impact of the Berlin Wall on the daily lives of Berliners was immediate and profound. Families found themselves suddenly divided, with parents separated from children and grandparents cut off from grandchildren. Many East Berliners woke up that fateful morning to find that their jobs in West Berlin, which had been just a short commute away, were now unreachable. The city, which had been a hub of cultural and intellectual exchange, was now brutally divided. Despite the wall, many East Germans still dreamed of freedom and were willing to risk everything to achieve it. Over the years, a series of daring escape attempts captured the world's attention. There were those who dug tunnels under the wall, often starting the digging from inside their own homes. Others leaped from windows in buildings that bordered the wall. Some even attempted to cross in homemade hot air balloons or by clinging to the undercarriage of trains. Most of these attempts ended in failure and often in tragedy. Border guards had strict shoot-to-kill orders, and it's estimated that over 100 people lost their lives trying to cross the Berlin Wall over the course of its existence. Those who were caught could expect to face years in prison for the crime of fleeing the Republic. But for all its imposing presence, the Berlin Wall could not completely extinguish the human spirit's yearning for freedom. Throughout the 1980s, cracks began to appear in the Soviet bloc. Reformist movements in Poland and Hungary challenged the communist status quo, and a new Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, began to speak of glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring. In East Germany, too, the winds of change were blowing. In the fall of 1989, mass demonstrations erupted across the country, with East Germans taking to the streets to demand democratic reforms. The movement reached a crescendo on November 4, when 500,000 people gathered in East Berlin's Alexanderplatz for the largest protest in the country's history. Just 5 days later, on November 9, the unthinkable happened. At a press conference, an East German official announced that all citizens would be allowed to cross into West Germany, effective immediately. As word spread, thousands of East Berliners rushed to the wall, overwhelming the border guards. In scenes of unbridled joy, they began to climb on top of the wall, chipping away at the concrete with hammers and chisels. Over the next few days, the Berlin Wall essentially ceased to function as a barrier. Formal demolition began in the summer of 1990, and the process of German reunification, which had seemed like an impossible dream just months before, was now unstoppable. On October 3, 1990, East and West Germany officially became one country again. Today, more than 3 decades after its fall, the Berlin Wall remains a powerful symbol of the Cold War and the division it imposed on Europe and the world. Fragments of the wall can be found in museums and memorials around the globe, serving as tangible reminders of this dark chapter in history. But the legacy of the Berlin Wall goes beyond the physical structure itself. It stands as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of oppression and the ultimate triumph of freedom over tyranny. It reminds us that no wall, no matter how high or how heavily guarded, can forever contain the human desire for liberty and self-determination. As we look back on this pivotal moment in history, we are reminded of the importance of defending democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. We are reminded, too, of the power of ordinary people to bring about extraordinary change when they stand together in solidarity. The fall of the Berlin Wall marked the end of an era, but it also marked the beginning of a new one, an era of hope, of possibility, and of a world more united than divided. As we continue to navigate the challenges of our own time, let us draw inspiration from the courage and determination of those who brought down the symbol of division and oppression. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of the most remarkable chapters in modern history. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Plain Tick for more explorations of our endlessly fascinating world.